This crust can be of two types. Crust can be of two types. This is known as the continental crust here. This is the continental crust. Continental crust. And this part is called as the oceanic crust, below the ocean. Upper crust, lower crust, upper mantle, lower mantle, this is asthenosphere. This is lower mantle, this is center of the earth. I hope it is clear. अब हम देखते हैं what is the name of the discontinuity here. Some brief point I will tell you about these regions also. You remember CM, R, G, L. याद होगा ये CMRGL. And this is the center of the earth. It is the center of the earth. Earth की center है ये. And if I'll go for this, like depth of this one कितना है? 6371 kilometer it is. .550. The kilometers whatever you have, in case of this one is 5150. You know it about this. This is 5150. 2900 kilometer depth. Lower mantle, if you see again, you have like 700 kilometer. Here it is 700 kilometer. Here it is 200 to 400 kilometer. Asthenosphere. 200 to 400 kilometer. This is 30 kilometer. This is nearly 70 kilometer. It may vary. कुछ books में 90 दिया होगा देखो, कुछ में 30 ही दे रखा है. But these are like there is a variation here of this. So silica rich silicate rock you will have in this. By the way, ये जो नाम बोला मैंने ये CMRGL, this is here. You remember this is Conard. Discontinued. This is Moho or MOHORVICI. More discontinuity. This is Repeti discontinuity. This is Gutenberg Wichat discontinuity. This is Lehman discontinuity. Gutenberg Wichat और Oldham कहते हैं. Oldham discontinuity. And you have Lehman discontinuity. These are the discontinuity here. Now the question is, what are discontinuity? Where suddenly change in the temperature, change in the pressure condition, change in the composition, such abrupt changes होगा. These are known, where the continuity is breaking is known as discontinuity. Inside the earth interior there are a lot of discontinuity like this. As we know, in the upper crust nearly 2.9 is the density, lower crust 3.3. Here 2.9, 3.3, 2.9, 3.3. Density is in terms of grams per cubic centimeter, you remember, 3.3. Now here is 1.8, 2.5. ये जो ना density is gram per cubic centimeter. This is gram per cubic centimeter. Gram per cubic centimeter, you remember. Now what happened here? This is in the asthenosphere, if you will see, is a greasy layer. asthenosphere में जो एवरेज तो डेंसिटी है बढ़ जाता है. Here it is 4.3 ग्राम पर क्यूबिक सेंटीमीटर हो जाएगा. 4.3 gram. In the lower mantle, gradually it will increase, and in the lower mantle case, if you will see, in the lower mantle it goes up to 5.5 here. 5.5. ये है Gutenberg-Wichardt discontinuity, you can see. At the Gutenberg-Wichardt discontinuity, it goes up to, at 2900 kilometer nearly, 5.5 to 10. 5.5 to 10 gram per cubic centimeter, very sudden. After this देखो 10 to फिर बढ़ेगा 12.3 to 13.5 here, 12.3 13.5 gram per cubic centimeter. At this particular point, there is a change. Finally, if you will go deeper inside, you will find out at 13.6, 13.8, 13.8. gram per cubic centimeter. See here, the density is gradually increasing if you will go deeper inside. Material, I said, here silicate matter more in the upper part. Here magnesium, here iron and nickel. Material will get gradually increase. ये इसको आप याद करिए. I'll tell you about this in detail again. That these are the regions here, you know, it is very, very important to see. Earth interior, if you see, the earth interior is not uniform, it has various discontinuity, and there are lot of variation in it. Please note down. The crust is primarily rigid and comprises less denser silica and or silicate matter and aluminum rich material. Outer shell it is like this. Average the continental crust is around 32 kilometer depth. 30 to 32 kilometer depth, continental crust. The crust are of two types, continental crust and oceanic crust. Continental crust is thick, oceanic crust is thin. Remember, based on its density and composition, the continental crust is less denser, oceanic crust is more denser. Oceanic crust is mostly basaltic. No part of the ocean crust is older than 200 million years. No part of the ocean crust is older than 200 million years. And the ocean crust is comparatively recent as compared to continental crust. But continental crust are thick, less denser. Oceanic crust is thin, more denser. Oceanic crust is very young, recently developed. Continental crust is very old. You will get Precambrian and Archean, very old rock strata in the continent of more than 3.6 billion years old. Continental crust has the rocks of 3.6 billion years old. But oceanic crust doesn't have. Oceanic crust has the rock strata of the oldest one is 200 million years old. No part of the ocean floor is more than 200 million years old. Please remember. Okay, I hope you got it. Now, coming to the crust again, crust comprises, I said, very lighter material. Crust can be divided into two parts, like upper and lower crust. They are separated by Conard discontinuity. Remember, the name of the discontinuity is given as per the scientist who discovered this. Conard discontinuity at around 30 km depth. Below this, if you go, there is a sudden change in the density and composition, and here the continental crustal plate, crustal block where end, and this is known as the Moho discontinuity or Mohor-Bishik discontinuity, very important, where the density of the rock suddenly changes from 2.9 to 3.3 gram per cubic centimeter. There is a sudden change, there is a sudden increase. Please remember this. My friends, सर ये डेंसिटी किलोमीटर याद रखना है क्या? ट्रेंड पता होना चाहिए आपको एग्जैक्टली ये वाला किलोमीटर को, ये जो है ना अप्रोक्सीमेट, तो ये तो याद कर लोगे यार, किसमें ये क्या है परेशानी इसमें बताओ, इसको तो याद करिए, ये तो दिस सीक्वेंस याद होगा, सीक्वेंस अप्रोक्सीमेट डेप्थ पता होना चाहिए, यू डोंट हैव टू गो फॉर डिटेल, बट यस वन थिंग यू मस्ट रिमेंबर, आप ये जो एबनॉर्मलिटी है इसको प्लीज थोड़ा देखिए, विच वन, दिस एबनॉर्मलिटी हियर, देखा आपने 5.5 to 10, ये याद करिए, ये दोनों याद कर लीजिए, 2.9 to 3.5, 2.9 to 3.3, 5.5 to 10, इतना याद होगा, ये दोनों को याद करिए। एंड एस्थेनोस्फीयर के बारे में थोड़ा याद करना पड़ेगा हमें, प्लीज नोट डाउन नाउ। एस्थेनोस्फीयर इज लोकेटेड इन upper mantle. Its thickness is around 200 km to 400 km depth. Nearly, you have this asthenosphere. Asthenosphere is a greasy layer. Asthenosphere is a greasy layer. Asthenosphere is made up of euclogite. There is molten materials, very molten metallic minerals are there. Remember, it is an elastic layer. It is an elastic layer. When there is a plate movement, it facilitates easy and smooth movement of the plates. The asthenosphere act like an elastic layer, and it in fact facilitate the gliding of the plate, easy movement of the plates. Please remember this. This is in the upper mantle. Friends, asthenosphere is a soft layer. Asthenosphere is known as low velocity zone. Low velocity zone. My friends, you remember, as per the seismic tomography means by studying the behavior of the earthquake wave inside the earth interior, by studying the seismic tomography, by studying the behavior of the earthquake wave inside the earth interior, we found that earth interior is not uniform. Earth interior has lot of variation. There are three distinct zones of crust, mantle and core. And at nearly depth 200 to 400 km, what happens? Sudden change in the velocity of P and S wave. Earthquake wave hota hai primary wave, P wave. S wave is secondary wave. P wave can pass through. जो earthquake जब भी होता है ना, whenever there is an earthquake, the stress energy of the earth, the crust or the rock strata got suddenly released. The release of this stress energy is in the form of P or primary wave and S or secondary wave. Both are body wave, they can go deeper inside the earth. But P wave, you remember, P wave, if this is the direction of propagation, I mean in this direction the wave will move. It will go like this, to and fro like this. It will go like this. So it is parallel to the direction of the propagation. It will go like this. Got it? It is parallel to the direction of the propagation. P wave. P wave passes through solid, liquid and gaseous all, but the velocity is more in solid. In liquid, it will have significant decrease in the velocity. On the contrary, ash wave is just like, you take a rope and fix it in one end and another end you just do it like this. It will go, the wave will move like this. So it is perpendicular to direction of propagation. ओके, डायरेक्शन ऑफ प्रोपागेशन, एक साइड पे आप रस्सी को बांध लो और एक साइड से ऐसे करो, वो क्या होगा, वेव जाएगा ना ऐसे, दैट इज परपेंडिकुलर टू द डायरेक्शन ऑफ प्रोपागेशन, इट विल मूव लाइक दिस, एंड दिस पर्टिकुलर type of wave is S wave. S wave is perpendicular to the direction of propagation, my friends, you remember. So S wave and P wave both are, we can, if you are able to map their path and their velocity, you will be able to know about the earth interior. S wave cannot passes through liquid or gaseous matter. So, but is semi-liquid में क्या होगा? Its velocity will be less. At astronosphere 200 to 400 kilometer depth, we found both the velocity of P wave and S wave declines. It means it is a low, that's why known as a low velocity zone. Velocity of both P and S wave declines here, so known as a low velocity zone. Astronosphere is called as low velocity zone. It is an elastic zone. It is a plastic or elastic zone which absorbs the stress of the rock during the plate movement or plate tectonics. Remember this. Now, it will go deeper inside. Here are some fluctuation is there, rapid discontinuity is there. Gutenberg, which are very important discontinuity where sudden change from 5.5 to 10 gram per cubic centimeter. There is a sudden change, great change in the density level you can see here. So, in this case, at Gutenberg, which are Oldham discontinuity, very interesting thing happens. इसपे बाद ये रीजन्स पे सडन चेंज होता है. क्रस्ट तो लिखा, आप मेंटल को लिखिए, मेंटल के बारे में few point please note down. Mantle is the most dynamic zone. Mantle is the most dynamic zone. Got it? Mantle is the most dynamic zone in the earth interior. There are development of molten pockets, molten material zone inside the earth mantle. These are known as magma chambers, and these are very variable zones also. Magma chambers are there in the mantle. Okay, mantle is the most variable zone. Mantle covers largest area it covers. The mantle zone is responsible for almost all endogenetic phenomena. It is responsible for almost all endogenetic phenomena. What are the endogenetic phenomena? Yes. आप याद रखें, लोअर मेंटल इज नोन एज मेजोस्फीयर ऑल्सो, MESO. मेजोस्फीयर मीन मेंटल, मिडिल. मेजोस्फीयर कहते हैं लोअर मेंटल को. Some scientists use for entire mental, but most of these use lower mental. I am telling you, this particular zone is most variable zones, mantle zone. A development of this magma chamber facilitate proper smooth movement of the plates also. By the way, so here the means it is variable zone. Below 2900 kilometer it is found, below 2900 kilometer. The velocity of both P and S wave decreases, but S wave cannot pass through beyond this particular zone, which shows that S wave, I mean the core, outer core is liquid. Outer core is liquid. We came to know outer core is liquid because the wave cannot passes through it. Which wave? S wave. S wave cannot passes through it, which means what? It is a liquid one. If it is a liquid one, S wave cannot passes through it. P wave velocity also declines. Friends, why it is so? Because of the impact of more and more geothermal energy. If you go deeper inside, every 32 meter, there is 1 degree Celsius temperature increases. Now you think about 2900 kilometer. So definitely everything will get melted now. Molten materials, liquid, outer core. But it is found that at This particular, beyond this 2100 kilometer depth, there is a refraction, there is a change in the direction of the path of the P wave and S wave. They change in the medium, that's why. But S wave cannot goes beyond this, it means it is liquid. But P wave pass through it with a slight variation in its path, and it shows that there is a liquid one. But inside this, much below this, in the innermost part, the velocity again further increases, which shows that there is a solid layer. At the earth interior, the middle part, inner core is solid. Please note down about the core. Core is the innermost part of the earth interior. Core is the innermost part of the earth interior. Core. The outer core is liquid due to more impact of geothermal energy. Outer core is liquid due to more impact of geothermal energy as compared to the inner core. Outer core is liquid due to more impact of the geothermal energy. So, S wave cannot passes through it. S wave cannot passes through it, and P wave velocity declines. And P wave velocity declines. Okay. Now coming to inner core. Inner core, from 5.50 kilometer to the center of the earth, inner core, most densest part of the earth interior, densest part of the earth interior is the inner core. Maximum density you see 13.5 to 13.6 gram per cubic centimeter. So it is very, densest part. This densest part of the earth interior, nickel and ferrous rich material, is in solid condition. Why? Because of more impact of pressure than the geothermal energy. Please note down. More impact of the pressure than the geothermal energy. Because more impact of the pressure, so it will never allow the particles to move freely. Because it cannot allow the particles to move freely, so it acts like a solid object. It is solid because it cannot allow, it will not allow the particles to move freely because of more and more pressure. You remember this. Inner core is solid because, no doubt, temperature is more here. Temperature, impact of temperature and impact of pressure, if you will see, impact of pressure exceeds the impact of temperature. Because the impact of pressure is more, that's why it will not allow the particles to move freely. So it is solid in nature. Got it?